one of the things that I've seen growing up, when I was growing up in Easton, we were fielding 12 teams in every age group. And we walked from South Side to College Hill to West Ward, playing basketball, football, baseball. That's all we offered at the time. We didn't have soccer or lacrosse. And as the flight to the suburbs continued and the subdivisions are being built in the suburbs, there is what is called the Open Space Recreation Fund. Every new building that's built up there pays it. So when I came in office in 2008, I started it in Easton in 2009. But there's no mechanism for the private sector to contribute. And the divide between what kids have in Easton and what kids have in the suburbs is getting wider and wider as all these beautiful community centers are being built. Here we have with us the Community Foundation, which I'm going to introduce Louis to talk more about. But I think it's really important that we expand our recreational opportunities. I happened to attend the basketball tryouts on Sunday for the AAU team that we're doing. You may know we started this year an AAU volleyball, girls volleyball team, and an AAU program, not just one team, and an AAU basketball. And we've gotten tremendous success, and we've never offered it before. So I want to thank Kevin for being there on Sunday. It's been wonderful for me when, we would have, 30 young men show up for a basketball tryout with one team and know that there's 12 teams in the city at that time. Today we're having trouble fielding one. And I think it's because kids just don't have a place to go. So we've improved all of our parks and playgrounds, but we're also, I hope, to be able to build a community center. Very similar to the ones that are being built in Forks Township, Palmer Township. And I want one for our kids. There should not be a divide whether you live in an urban center or a suburban community. You should not have a difference in what is offered to you educationally, socially, or athletically. And hopefully we'll get that done.
First of all, as city administrator, I oversee the operations for the city. One thing that it was emphasized to me when I was hired on the job was that the fact that I live in the city, so therefore I should be able to have a little bit more intimate knowledge of some of the things that are needed in the city, more than just reviewing budget reports and the like. So one thing that became apparent as I'm raising my children here in the city of Easton was that there was a certain lack of opportunity for youth. And as the mayor had mentioned, one of them was a girls volleyball program. And that's just in general at the middle school level, outside, let alone during the season, but outside of the season. And the second one was off-season type sports like the mayor just had mentioned, AAU basketball. I will tell you that we've just introduced the two. We've augmented probably by somewhere between 10 and 20% the amount of youth that are now involved in sports in the city. And I'll let our recreation director talk a little bit about that. But to calibrate it, we've added about maybe at least on the volleyball side, there's about 36 girls that are participating at 3 different levels. And then we have a development team that meets every Saturday of even younger girls. The development that range from 11 to about 13, which is incredible because not even our suburban counterparts necessarily offer a middle school program for volleyball. So having these girls participate is quite impressive, to say the least. And seeing their faces and how excited they are to go practice during the weekend and on the weekends. And we certainly have partners for that because we, as the mayor said, we don't have facilities. And we thank the school district and also the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club for working with us on gym space, etc. Then the second program was an AAU basketball tryouts that we just had. So we decided, hey, let's put some feelers out in the community. There were some volunteers that came to us and said, let's see if we can make this happen. They made sense because gyms are not utilized during this time in the off season, but we weren't sure if this was going to necessarily work. And lo and behold, as the mayor said, at one time they had 30 students or youth applying for a team of 12. Well, today I can say that we had 70 boys show up this past weekend for potentially at least 4 teams. Not quite the same numbers as before, but it's certainly impressive. And these two programs are a little bit unique to the rec department in that they are a little bit higher caliber. They're not entry level. They require a couple of years of experience, so to speak, in playing sports, and there's a cost to it. It's certainly pay to play. In this manner, this is an okay analogy to use because you're paying for higher level coaches and you're paying to get into tournaments. Mind you, the costs that we provide our sports, these two programs, is about, I would say, maybe roughly 40 to 60% less than what our counterparts are offering in the suburban markets. And we're able to do this because we have administrative staff that are already paid and don't need to make up that margin to pay for all of the administrative work that's needed in coordinating these teams and placing them in tournaments. But the second thing is that we don't need to make a profit. And we want to be able to offer our youth this type of higher level programming, if you will. The one thing about the 70 boys that showed up this weekend, I would say a good majority of them were from the West Ward. And if not, more than half, or certainly from the city of Easton. We do open it up to non-Easton residents, but as city administrator and everything that we hear, that's the kind of thing that I like to see. I like to see that the school district is partnering with us, using their facility in the West Ward, and then we have boys that are with their parents walk to the facility, walk to the tryouts, and moreover, 30 minutes early and waiting outside for the doors to open. Now, one of the items that's important, this is why we have the Community Foundation today, and for the record, I serve on the board. I've been on the board now for, I think, about 3 to 4 years, something like that. And Erika Petrozelli is here. She's our new, quote-unquote, CEO for the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation, took over for Bernie Story. The Community Foundation grew, and I'll let Erika speak about it a little bit more, grew from really maybe a multi-million-dollar organization to approaching a lot larger quantity. That's not only services Bethlehem, and that's where it was born, but the Lehigh Valley as a whole. But the reason why the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation is here is because we took the opportunity of being able to work with the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation, because now they have an emphasis of being here in Easton, but moreover to use one of their vehicles that they have for charitable giving. And that is create a charitable trust in which individuals and corporations can make tax-free contributions, and then they would then in turn come to the city of Easton as a grant. And this is a phenomenal opportunity and something that I'm looking forward to partnering on. And just for the record, there are already individuals that said, I would like to contribute to the AAU program, because we know that there's a deficit, there has to be some fundraising for it. And so the promise of that is basically giving us different types of ideas on how the future of the rec department could operate. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Erika so she can talk a little bit about the Community Foundation, and then I'd like also Kevin McCarthy, our director of our rec department, to also talk a little bit about this and how this all ties in together. One thing I do want to say about our AAU basketball is that one of the reasons why we can do this is, A, I played basketball, both in high school and a little bit in college, but we also have a ringer on the staff, a real ringer. Kevin McCarthy actually was recently inducted into the SUNY, I believe it's SUNY School Hall of Fame as a 30-year basketball coach. He's been an athletic director, and when he was on the court on Sunday, and then we had our first tryout, the one thing I noticed immediately, and so did all the boys, was the intensity. And he's intense. And you know, I wasn't sure if I could keep up with him, and I thought that I'm pretty aggressive, but he's certainly aggressive.